lot of faith in me, TBL, and that's what I appreciate about you.
Well, it's important when part of a cult to put absolute faith in the leader.
Wait, hold on. I'm the leader of this cult?
You've got the biggest beard.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Really?
Sorry, man. Yeah, you've got a bigger beard than me. You've got a bigger beard than them. So
I got rid of it.
That still puts you at the head of the cult.
Hold on. So if Bona's here, Bona has the most majestic beard of all of us. Does that mean that I've been usurped as the cult leader?
It means as soon as he entered the room, it's like the spotlight panned over to him. We all turned, and now we're shunning you. He's the leader now.
Oh. I'm
into Bona, I have absolute faith in you. 100%.
Bonafide usurper.
New username coming on in. Sorry, Dan, you've been outvoted. That's just the rules of the game, man. I've never seen a cult without a cult leader who had a giant beard.
Oh man, this could get dark real quick.
Yeah, let's not go there.
Let's not. Yeah, we should probably chill.
I know exactly where you were about to. Yeah, no.
Okay, well,
we're not that kind of family, Dan.
It's all right. We'll talk about it later. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 303 of the Planet Destiny podcast. We are back once again to talk about all the goings-on in the Destiny 2 universe. And of course, we've got some stuff to talk about. We've got Grandmaster Nightfalls getting ready to go live. I know a lot of people are really excited about that. We've got a bunch of other stuff. We have a new community art contest going on that Nim's gonna lose again.
What?
Mechs versus monsters, bro.
Oh, dude.
Oh boy.
I'm mad about it.
You ready to be 0-2? Because
yep.
It doesn't even matter. It really doesn't even matter what team I want to be on. Whatever team you pick is gonna lose.
Correct.
I'm sure we'll be able to get into a lot of conversations about the benefits, the cost and benefits of choosing mechs over monsters or vice versa. We've got some other things. We got some weekly ritual changes going into effect and all kinds of other Destiny news. Joining us this week, we have our usual roundtable of hosts, headed up by the former cult leader, Mr. Dan Finity.
I'm here for the blood rituals.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I'm saying.
I dig it.
Thank you.
Did you watch Morbius this weekend?
Did anybody?
No.
Then there's your answer.
No one did. And this is why we have faith in you. Mr. Nim Plays, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going?
Nah, not too much, man. Are you going to share some of that pizza? I know you're eating.
Absolutely not. This is all mine.
Tell them what you're eating.
A buffalo chicken bacon pizza on a pan crust. Delicious.
This man, an absolute podcasting professional. We go to start things up, and he's like, "Hey, wait, guys, I got to go get my pizza." What, is this an ASMR eating podcast?
He's a golden god. Man.
I can make it that, but I'm not.
We just have to sit here and listen to it. That's the pain of this pod. It's Nim's revenge for all the ribbing over all the years. He still knows that he can just sit down here and eat delicious food, and we have to hear it.
For all that TBL Schmeat pictures you post on your Discord.
Hey, man. You know what? I'm not giving any further context to that. You got to go to the Discord to find out what TBL Schmeat is.
The invite, baby. Go watch.
There's no further context for that. But of course, my name is the Black Link. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. This week, we have a very special guest host joining us. The Chad Dad, the legend of the Lighthouse GG, BonaFideHiro. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you for joining us. It's great to have you here, especially as Dan was saying in some of the pre-show stuff. The show before Grandmasters go live. something you're kind of known to run.
Yeah, he hit me up the other day. We're very excited that it's Grandmasters after reading the twab. I'm like, yeah, king. Let's get into it and keen on Tuesday.
Oh yeah, and and with Grandmasters, of course, being kind of like the pinnacle of PvE activity, sometimes even more so than the normal versions of the raids generally wind up being. Because Grandmaster Nightfalls usually start out being pretty rough. They require you to be at a specific light. I think this time around you have to be, what, 1575 to even get in?
Correct, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Which, while not exact, it's not like that's a super hard grind to get to, but it does require that you have been basically on top of leveling your season pass and getting your pinnacles week by week by week, so you can hit that opening threshold for power requirements. It takes a lot to get into Grandmaster Nightfalls, and they provide a pretty decent challenge for what Bungie is asking for there. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how exactly some of the builds we've gotten with Void 3.0 are going to be working out in there. And that's certainly one of the biggest questions that I'm going to be asking you here over the next couple of minutes. But first things first, for everyone out there who may not be affiliated with you, I want to give you the opportunity to take the floor and let everybody know who you are and what it is you do.
Well, Dan's referred to me as Bona, Bona, BonaFideHiro, hero, or just that guy. So yeah, I'm Australian. I live in the UK, and I do sort of a lot of sort of daytime, morning for the US, afternoon for the EU. And yeah, just do a sort of a lot of helps and a lot of sort of goofing about during the day on my Twitch channel, and also sort of put on events throughout our sort of community Discord, the Lighthouse, as well. So yeah, I can generally be seen either live doing all sorts of silly stuff and helping people out, or helping out with events in our community server. So yeah, that's what I got going on this platform. So yeah.
Right on. And again, it's great to have you here with us tonight. But setting up events and all that kind of stuff is such a crazy thing to think about. I've never once really kind of taken part in something like that in any game other than really kind of just Destiny. And so it leads me to wonder, like, how did you even get into Destiny to the point where you have you have a channel basically themed after it, you're creating events for it. How did all that get started?
It's got to be the pandemic, doesn't it? So the pandemic, obviously, at the start of that, everyone sort of took to Twitch. Everyone took to video games and working at home, or being off work and sort of playing video games. So, in a pre-pandemic lifetime, I was a events coordinator. So, yeah, and I kind of just move those people skills and those sort of event management skills over to just running sort of community events and coordinating sort of with people to in game, whether that be just getting people in to do sort of guides and Sherpas in game, or whether it be an actual event that is being put on a server. So yeah.
Right. And there's certainly a lot of that to do here in the world of Destiny too. Do you have a favorite bit of content to Sherpa people through?
Well, up until recently, it was the Vow raid. The Vows, sort of come out. Is one of those raids where you can't just sit by and do nothing. Everyone's got to do something. So
everybody's got to have a job. Yeah.
Especially that third encounter, and I'm sure we all feel the same about the third encounter, the exhibition. So, trying to get everyone through that and on the same sort of level. You take that bit by bit. That's definitely, as of late, a challenge, but it's also been that feeling at the end once you finally get through that last door. It's it's one of the better feelings throughout the raid. I've had some good experience of that recently. There's definitely some frustrating ones, but yeah, getting people through that's probably been my favorite sort of Sherpa event recently.
Yeah, Vow of the Disciple in and of itself is a pretty interesting bit of content there. Dan here actually is the one who carried me through my first Vow run, and exhibition, that third encounter. There was definitely a lot to kind of take in. On one hand, I like that there are specified roles. So you basically have everybody who has something to do there. Everybody feels like they're helping to progress towards the goal rather than just being one person, you're Sherpaing through and you're just saying, okay, stay in that corner and kill anything that comes into your corner. Yeah. And but it's a lot going on there. I couldn't imagine right now trying to teach somebody, like a new person, to go through and then another new person to go through that, because there's so much to go with it. And God bless you guys who backpack people through things. For that encounter, basically Dan said, all right, Here's a nut. I want you to hold the nut. I said, okay, I'm good. I got it. I'll take the nut and do the thing with the nut.
I'm well practiced.
That's my job.
That's it. Every day. But that particular raid has so many different mechanics, so many different things to remember. And, of course, part of that is just that it's still a new experience for a lot of people. As I am right now, as kind of a neophyte player to the Vow of the Disciple, I've only really run it twice. I couldn't imagine trying to Sherpa people through. So how do you go about explaining some of those mechanics to somebody who's never stepped foot in a raid?
Patience is key. Like everyone sort of stepping in, especially that haven't sort of done it sort of week one or like the first few days. Either haven't had a chance to sort of play it, or you're more casual and a little bit more reserved about jumping in the first place. You have to think, these guys are giving me not only am I using my time, but they're giving me their time, and in the forefront of your mind needs to be like, how can we make this the best experience for those players? How do we keep them coming back and wanting to do this again? And how do we supposed to expect people to know what to do in future activities if I can't sort of step up and show them now? So you got to think of that, and everyone's on different levels. So if it doesn't work one way explaining something, you adopt a different way and you explain it that way. But we use a plethora of visual material in the Lighthouse where we've grabbed that from community accounts and just other content other people have made, and we try to make it in the most simple, most descriptive sort of way possible, and try and give people sort of one thing to focus on. I've definitely had people sort of pipe up and be like, yo, I want to do sort of more than that. And especially at the boss encounter where they want to go and do all the dunking. I'm like, yep, cool. Take that off me. You like, this is what you do for dunking. I'm not going to have you just stand over there, just doing call outs and shooting shit. So, it's definitely to sort of get people through. It's patience, and some runs go better than others, but you just sort of keep going, and you don't just, if someone sort of, if it's not going well and someone's sort of not getting it, you see progress every single time. So you just say, yep, we're going to keep at it. We got to tweak this one thing. We're not going to switch that one person out, put someone better in that could do it. It's, give people the time and the resource that they know that they can sort of get the job done themselves. So yeah.
No, I think that's the right way to approach it, and you said it right at the beginning there. Patience is key. You want to take it step by step with people. You don't dump all the mechanics on one person and say, okay, you got to figure this role out, and then there's also this role. You want to focus them on, here's your role, here's what you're going to be responsible for, here's what you're going to be handling. Like I said, for me in the exhibition, I was the man holding the nut, and I held that nut as long as I could. And when it comes to a raid that's like this, I think that's probably the best approach for it. And man, I couldn't imagine. I still couldn't imagine trying to not be the baby being taught everything. But even with that being the case, getting through, by the time I got to the boss with you, Dan, I felt like I had a pretty good understanding of what was going on. I felt like you guys did a great job of setting the scene for the basic mechanics. A lot of the mechanics in Vow of the Disciple are borrowed from previous raids, and I thought Bungie did a good job of kind of having the encounters evolve to the point where the mechanics that you're using in the beginning are kind of the mechanics you're going to be using towards the end. But I thought you, Dan, you and your squad did a fantastic job of explaining concepts, showing me the way forward. And by the time we got to the end, I could understand what was going on. And I didn't feel like I had to, I didn't feel that nervous pressure that a new player does, that you might mess something up, you don't really understand what's going on, there are things going on around you that you might not catch on to. And I thought you guys did a fantastic job of kind of swaying those fears away.
Well, thanks, buddy. like I said, so the past couple weeks, I've been a little frustrated by the raid, and maybe it's like, maybe I'm not going into it with the same spirit that I'd been going into like previous, but like, I think it does take understanding the clockwork nature of how the raid encounters work. Like this thing directly affects this and this and this, and your role in here is to be this cog in order to get the machine to go. Like I just now thought like had the thought of like raids are kind of like giant Rube Goldberg machines, and you you have to fill like little roles in there in order to get the foot to kick somebody right in the face. You know what I mean? So that's it's stressful. It can be stressful. It does take a lot of patience. It takes a lot of creativity and how to teach somebody what like a 20-minute encounter in like a few sentences, like so that the base concept is taken in. It's a lot of fun to be a Sherpa, and I thought Bona would be great for this, especially for like this dude. If you've never watched him before, is one of the most patient Sherpas that I've seen on Twitch, and somebody who's very knowledgeable and just like really, really well thought out. So I'm glad to have you here, buddy. Thanks so much for joining us.
Honestly, thanks for having me, man. I'm super excited to jump it on tonight, and at least it's like not sort of like trials talk, and it's something I can actually sort of weigh in on.
Oh, you don't want to talk about trials?
I haven't touched trials all season, so
I don't either. I'm good with that.
You'll probably hear some sighs from me, but that's about it.
That's all right. Just go do the Twitch bounties and get 2 free levels every week.
That's
like
it.
Everyone else. But it's I think we are going to have a pretty good topic to talk about here, because of course one of the biggest things when it comes to raids is of course the loadout, the tools that you bring into that encounter, to that environment, the weapons and whatnot that you're using. And Dan, you talked a little bit about some of the frustrations you've been feeling. There was a slight salty tweet earlier this week that I thought was fantastic. But with
I didn't think it was
Grandmasters,
that salty, but maybe it was. I don't know.
It was properly seasoned, buddy. I loved it. It was a delicious tweet. But in that moment, I felt your pain. There were times in which I've been Sherpaing people through raids and whatnot, and I'd notice, maybe one person's having a particular amount of trouble with a specific encounter or a specific side of a room or whatever. So you move them around, and you notice Guardian Down is being heard quite a few times. So, you inspect a little bit, and you notice they've got like some blue gear on or something. It's like, oh, well, maybe let's take a look at your loadout a little bit, swap some things up, maybe get some stats in some different categories and whatnot. And I thought with Grandmasters coming up, that's a really kind of important topic of conversation, because of course, as Bungie has moved Destiny 2 further and further into the RPG category, loadouts, builds have become such a huge thing, especially in the Void 3.0 world. And we've got an expert here in Mr. BonaFideHiro on running that kind of content. So how do you feel about the overall state of builds and loadouts and whatnot? And what will you be bringing into Grandmasters this coming week?
So builds, I feel like, especially with the whole weapon crafting thing that was introduced in the current expansion, Witch Queen, I think with all the brand new perks that have come out, new exotics, new toys to play with, and obviously new artifact mods that we get every single season. There's a lot for us to play with. There's a lot for us to play with, and especially with Void 3.0, giving us a little bit more diversity than the other two light subclasses currently. There's a lot to play with. Running for into GMs, I'll definitely be taking a glaive in to give it a go straight away. Glaive suppression build, even though it has been nerfed, is still sort of S tier to myself, as the sort of style player I play as like a Titan. Especially with like unstop and just suppressing and weakening enemies with the Void 3.0 system. It's gonna be it's gonna be top tier. And that can then go for survivability, for supporting your teammates, and getting in and out of sticky situations will be really good for that. That's definitely what I'll sort of run in first go. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong or not, the first GM of the season is the first Nightfall.
right?
Yeah, Scarlet Keep. So we had Scarlet Keep
Yeah.
almost a year ago, over a year ago, we had Scarlet Keep. I think when it was Season of the Hunt, and I never got much of a chance to play around that time, so I don't have too much experience with Scarlet Keep. And then I think the next one after that is one of the new raids that came out with their expansion as well. So I'm going into sort of territory that I don't know too well, and you know where things are going to pop up. You go in, especially over the past year, where into these GMs that you've done so many times. You've done so many times on Master as well, and you know where sort of HVTs and champions are going to pop up and what can pop up. So you have that muscle memory going into like different encounters in different rooms. Whereas I won't have that for these first two. But that's what myself, my Chef partner Haterade, we generally do on a Tuesday. As soon as the GM comes out for that week, we go jump in and we try and figure out the best sort of way possible to get it through like straight away. And now with the node coming out this season, as soon as GMs come out, which is really great. Myself, Haterade, and Pigeon, who's I believe in the chat right now, will be running the gauntlet and running all 6 GMs straight away. And then as of Wednesday, we'll start up Sherpas. So yeah, we'll sort of figure everything out, the best sort of way, the best sort of loadout, and then we'll go from there. We need to definitely make that sort of as accommodating as possible to anyone coming in, that for varying levels of player. And you just sort of try to make anything work with what they've got. Obviously there's the ideal, but then there's what we have to work with. So I'm trying to find that middle ground going forward.
And I think that in particular is going to be something really important, because while we do have a plethora of mods and whatnot available to us now with gigantic leaps of power and stuff like the elemental well builds and whatnot, not every player has access to those. I have a couple of new light friends, and in particular a buddy who's been big into Destiny for a long time, but took quite a few seasons off, doesn't have all of the elemental well mods. And so I'd imagine the big challenge there is going to be finding that middle ground, like you said, between players who are going to hopefully have as many of those mods as possible so they can slap together those builds, especially since it doesn't cost you resources to put mods on now. Thank you, Bungie.
Thank God. Yep.
But to find the middle ground between the players with that kind of stuff and the players who haven't been visiting 801 every single day to get every single mod, God bless you and good luck in trying to get all of that worked out. But you mentioned something that's been kind of a topic of conversation for a while in terms of builds, the Suppressing Glaive build, which was utterly lol worthy for the first few weeks of Witch Queen, but did get that nerf. I think they what did they do? They made it so that you have to actually have 10% of the energy to activate Suppressing Glaive now.
Believe that's the case, and I believe they've also sort of taken down the amount of, correct me if I'm wrong again, someone definitely will correct me, but also touched up the amount of damage that you do while suppressing. Please correct me if I'm wrong on that. So yeah, and then obviously during day 1 raid they disabled it altogether. So those who know me found that I got very upset because I had 3 different builds on my Titan going into day 1 raid that was all predominantly suppressor glaive, and I had to start from scratch 2 days before we went into the raid. So
that's the first time they've done that though, right? Like in previous raid races, we've had mods disabled, but not really an entire suppressing.
We've had mods disabled because they've ended up not working as per intended. They knew what Suppressor Glaive was doing, so they went into the season knowing that Suppressor Glaive, that they were going to disable it by the time the raid came around. So that and one other thing, I believe. But yeah, they knew what they were doing. They knew how powerful it was. So they knew that we weren't allowed to have it. going in. So yeah,
You can't have that. You can't take that into
exactly.
to Rolk's playground.
That's it.
So
I would have been kick ass at an exhibition if I had my suppressor glaive build. That would have been made exhibition day 1 so much easier.
Go
I
ahead,
just
Dan.
love stabbing. I just love making hive blind. I just want to do all the things. I want to stab. I want to make things blind. That's my mantra.
And if you're a hunter, be invisible forever.
Yes. Man after my own heart.
So with that particular build, for those out there in the audience who maybe are unfamiliar with it, what's the quick rundown on the suppressing glaive build? How exactly did that work, and does it work now?
So it worked depending on sort of what class you're running, and then obviously the mods that you were sort of running, other artifact mods you were running at the same time. So obviously starting off with a suppressor glaive moderator on your class item,
Right.
and then sort of pairing other sort of ones. There's suppression mastery. There was another one for vampirism, and depending on what perks you had on your glaive, you could either keep with subsistence, keep shooting after killing, and pairing that then with void well mods, and depending on what sort of mods you were picking up, the sort of well build you had from there, you were doing sort of extra damage whilst they were suppressed and gaining volatile rounds from picking up like void. It was a whole team comp sort of deal that you had to sort of work out with a buddy of yours, but starting with you with the suppressor glaive. And it didn't even stop with just the suppressor glaive. There's a void suppressor mod as well, so you didn't even need the glaive to do so. But yeah, imagine the damage where you've got you're generating void elemental mods and they're going to a font of might on another teammate, and you're stopping and unstop with suppressor with unstop glaive and suppressor glaive, and you're weakening them at the same time, and you're throwing a void weakening grenade down as well. There's combining all these things, it's absolutely killer. So it changes from person to person, from build to build. There's no sort of one trick pony to it.
Right.
But basically you've got a bowl, you've got ice cream, you got sprinkles, you got a cone, you got a waffle. You're throwing all this on, and it just looks freaking beautiful at the end, and that's what you've got.
And that's kind of the beautiful thing about it, And that's the beautiful thing kind of about Void 3.0. It gives us the opportunity to create massively powerful builds like this that can get even better when you coordinate them with your teammates. And that's something that I was seeing a lot of over the first couple of weeks, and it's certainly something I'm going to be seeing a lot of in Grandmasters moving forward. Would you say that that's your favorite build thus far?
Thus far, yeah, definitely. And yeah, comparing that with well builds, I've got a buddy who has a well mine build that goes off sort of solar, so he sort of outdoes me with the well mine build, and that's obviously pairing war mine mods with wells, and having his buddies sort of generating wells for him, so that goes really well. But yeah, mine's definitely been playing around with all the void mods, and then pairing that with the activity in the encounter you're running. So one encounter you can be running that, and then the next encounter you can be jumping back to Charge of Light. It all depends on it's so versatile. It's so it's great.
No, absolutely. I 100% agree. And like this season, I've actually been running with so many different builds that for the first time, I finally started using the fantastic loadout feature on Dim. I had never used it before this season, but there's just so many different things to run. I have like 3 or 4 different builds that I run on Warlock, 3 that I run on Hunter, and 2 that I run on Titan because I just play PvP on Titan. And it really made me kind of take a step back and say, wow, this is really cool. I love that we have this kind of creativity and builds now. I do wish Bungie would just incorporate a loadout feature into the game, though. Oh my goodness! But Go ahead.
I will say, so recently there was a Stream Deck tool built for Destiny Item Manager. It was being real fickle with me for a while there, but I finally got it. I finally got it to work. And now at my fingertips, I can turn on farming mode. I can randomize my loadout and everything like that. So if you're a content creator or like somebody who's just like, I like really cool toys and I got a Stream Deck, you can use Dim with it now. It's pretty sick.
Yeah, and I'd absolutely recommend that everybody playing the game go and try out the dim loadout feature. It's very easy to set up. You just put on what you want your build to be. They have a little loadout tab. You go to it, you save the build. You have to be in orbit in order to apply and unapply the builds that you're swapping to and from. But it is very, very helpful, and I really hope that Bungie looks at adding that kind of feature to the game in some kind of quality of life update. Maybe with whatever the next big expansion is, Lightfall or whatever. That's but with as we move on into stuff like Solar 3.0 and Arc 3.0, which we know are coming down the line. I think we're even supposed to be getting the next light subclass revamp next season, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In like what, 3 weeks? Hasn't it been about?
Is it 3?
Okay, no, we've got another month,
right?
right?
We got 50 days, man.
Yeah,
I'm looking at it right now.
We've got more time than that because it started with Witchqueen. Get a little ahead of myself.
Yeah, man.
The concept of an Arc and Solar 3.0 excites me. I don't know which one we're getting next, but I'm a little excited about it.
Arc is the one that I'm scared about.
Why is that?
Flashbacks of Arc Strider hunters.
Oh, you got nothing to fear, man. Come on.
You'll be fine. You're fine. You're fine. It's not like Bungie just had to disable an Arc Hunter exotic because it was giving you 5 times normal damage on everything. That's fine. That's fine. You're good.
Totally fine.
But that is, something I wanted to kind of hear from you, Dan and Nim. Like, what builds are you guys running with right now? What is your favorite thing to hop into the game with?
Dan, I'll let you go first since you've played a lot more than me.
Oh boy. So right now I really enjoy a suppression glaive hunter build. There was one day where I was just like, I wonder how this would do in Prophecy. Like if I wanted to do like solo flawless in Prophecy, how viable is this if I decide to jump in? And I gotta say, I was just testing it out just to see how it went. Had I been a little bit more careful, I probably would have beat the first boss because Quiver with Mobius is insane for damage.
Yeah.
Suppression, you're just going, you're blinding everything. It affects everything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it affects the boss. I don't think it affects the boss in that room, but it affects everything else. So even the knights, you're blinding. Throw on a Wither Horde and a couple of other, like Wither Horde and Suppression Glaive have not really left my side unless I need like anti-barrier or something, in which case, you just throw on you throw on your Arbalist and you're fine. You don't really need to do too much. It's weird that before this season, I wasn't really running double special anything, and now it is tied to my loadout explicitly. Just constantly double. Like if it's not like Arbalist and Wither Horde, I have I've been using Deliverance, which is the raid fusion rifle, on the on Caretaker when not using those other 2 items because usually I'll have Sleeper.
I'm sorry, can we talk about you and that fusion rifle for a second?
All right.
Can we
story time?
So we're running through I'm doing Sherpas with Dan one day. And then we're like recommending these things and Dan's like, yeah, I'm just gonna run whatever. We have to wipe because something I messed up. We didn't do enough damage. Dan's there, like sitting up like 1 mil damage more than everyone else, and all he's running, he's not even running like a crafted roll or any like actual build or anything like that. But he's over here running the raid fusion rifle with nothing special on it, and he's like doing max damage more than anyone else. And we're like, what are you doing, Dan? He's like, I don't know.
I'm hip firing, dude. I've been
It's
trying
just-
to get better at hip firing, and that thing, like, it spreads like nobody's business. But like when you're firing directly into divinity, it really doesn't matter. And
Yeah.
so like I'm just spraying and praying, bud. And my prayers, they're paying off. It's pretty awesome. I need I need to get another I think I still need to get a few more red borders on that so I can craft it, but it's
Right.
That'll be
pretty
the next thing
insane
I'm crafting after the grenade
That-
launcher.
That fusion rifle is honestly a lot of fun. I
Yeah?
have one. Yeah, I have one with chill clip and demolitionist,
Ooh. Yeah.
and it's honestly kept me in stasis. It's so much fun. I've been pairing that a lot with my warlock. I know Void 3.0 is like the hotness right
Mhm.
now,
Yeah.
but like I'm still stuck in stasis.
Stasis is still king.
It's good.
Stasis is still.
It's so good. So with my warlock, I've been running that particular fusion rifle with the osmiomancy gloves that give you an
Oh,
exotic
yeah.
an extra grenade. The seeker grenade. I can't think of the name of it for the life of me. What is it
Cold
called?
snap, I think.
Cold snap.
that it?
Thank you. That's the one. But I don't use it for the cold snap. I use it for the extra turret, baby.
Double turret boy.
Double turret. Yeah, like not only does chill clip like proc like fairly often, I have demolitionist going on, so I'm freezing literally everything, and I have my two little buddies just out and about almost like every single time. It is
Yeah.
so much fun.
No, like you and Bona said, stasis is still kind of king. Like
Mhm.
it's everybody's running into stasis hunters in Crucible right now. Absolutely everyone. But stasis on warlock is also really really good. The Osiomancy, there's a build that I run right now specifically in PvP because I'm a piece of crap, where basically you can build around it's that one mod. I think it's called Firepower. It's a charged with light mod that basically gives you a chunk of grenade energy back. I think it's it's like you regain a portion of your grenade energy whenever you use your grenade. And when you use it alongside Osiomancy and Cold Snap, if you can land your Cold Snap grenade reasonably close to an enemy, it'll instantly freeze them before the Cold Snap starts seeking things. They'll spawn 2 shards with this build. You instantly get your grenade back, and you just pop them with literally anything to kill them, and then walk off with your 2 free grenades that you get to just keep throwing everywhere. It's
nice.
I've been playing a lot with that in PvP, and I feel bad about it. Until, a Duskfield drops on me and I see a big crystal and there's an unkillable hunter standing next to me laughing.
Oh yeah. No,
Whatever.
absolutely not.
Whatever.
There's a video that Datto made. I think it was before this last expansion came out. With a Titan build for stasis, which is literally all about creating crystals and shattering them.
Yeah.
Really, really recommend giving that video a watch because that's the build that I've been running on my Titan, and I have a Outlaw Headstone Aeos Luna. Bro,
Yeah.
it's dumb. The crowd control that you can get with that is ridiculous. So good.
And you just reminded me of something else that I've been running with. Something no doubt a lot of you guys have seen, the Lorelei helm for Titans is super good. The Sunspot builds you can run around with right now are super good. The Ashen Wake Might of Thor hammer throwing instant grenade popping build is stupidly good in PvP. This is what I love about the game right now. There's so much variety with how you can play it. There's so many different builds you can run with, so many different options for you. If you're somebody who maybe didn't want to jump on the Void 3.0 bandwagon, you can go Stasis, you can go Solar. And it's only going to get better as Bungie continues to update those light-based subclasses. I love that the game is in this state. It makes me happy to jump in and be like, you know what? I feel like playing Ozymancy Scumbag today. Or you know what? No. I'm gonna go Scatter Grenade Cheese because there's a build you can run with Scatter Grenades right now with Warlock and the.
Are they good though? Because like I feel like Scatter Grenades are still like so unreliable.
They're unreliable, but it doesn't matter when you run them with Nothing Manacles in a particular build that I'm using right now, because as long as one grenade touches an enemy, you get instant full grenade energy, you get Devour procced, you get Volatile on everything in the room. It's beautiful. I love the state of the game right now. I know Bungie's probably having a hard time creating encounters that are difficult to clear because of how powerful we are as players, but I'm having a lot of fun in the sandbox right now. It makes me happy to jump onto desk.
Speaking of volatile stuff, I got a new toy recently. On my 4th clear.
Okay.
Of Vow of the Disciple.
Okay.
Oh, you got it, didn't you?
Yeah, I got the exotic.
No, it must be nice.
Real interesting. It's super nice.
Yeah,
real interesting. How many clears are you on, Dan? I'm just
I swear
curious.
to God, we're
More
not
than you.
talking about this right now.
What's
We're not talking about this
number?
right now.
Understandable. Have a nice day. So I have the pulse rifle, and it's such a neat exotic. Like I'm still trying to find, like, I guess it's niche and where to use it. But I think what it ultimately comes down to is to have like most, if not at least 3 buyer team members using Void in order to really make that pulse rifle shine.
Like Bona was saying earlier, have your squad mates running other stuff that's complementary to your build, and I like that.
Pretty much,
I like that's an option in the game right now. Well, all right. We have more builds we want to talk about, or should we actually get into some of the Destiny news for the week?
What news?
Yeah, I think I'm good on builds.
Listen, there's a lot of stuff. If there are a lot of build channels who are making bank right now because there's a lot of fun stuff to play with in Destiny. Go peep them. Quick shout out to guys like Error, underrated channel, Plunder the Booty. YouTube him. It's a great name. He's a great guy, makes great builds. Got a great community over there. But in terms of news, we don't really have too much to cover this week, but we did have 1 or 2 things. First of which would be the community thing going on right now. We're going to be having a bit of a community vote like we did last year with the promise of new Festival of the Lost ornaments. Although I don't think Bungie exactly said that this time around those ornaments are going to be tied to Festival, did they? I don't think they did.
From what I'm seeing from this week's TWAB, I'm throwing that link in chat there. While we're just reaching spring, it's already time for us to start thinking about fall on the development team. We all had a great deal of fun last year with our first armor set community vote, Dinosaurs versus Monsters. 100% Team Monster for last year. Truth be told, we didn't know what to expect. After 200,000 votes were cast, Team Dino won with 81% of the vote. We'll always look back fondly at the wave of memes and fun that came, but it's time to look forward to Festival of the Lost 2022.
Okay, so they did mention that.
Mm-hmm.
I hope.
So, let me see if I could throw that up on the... throw the old browser up here.
Right, but this time around, it's going to be Team Mechs versus Team Monsters. And I got to say, as much as I'm a Gundam boy, Bungie might have got me with that Godzilla cloak for the hunters there. That looks kind of cool.
It doesn't look bad.
Yeah.
It looks kind of neat. Not going to lie.
Can I just point out that is, in my opinion, that is the only thing that looks cool about the monsters this year. Like I feel like the Titans are getting a little bit shafted on the. Even though like if we didn't have the furry legs, we'd be absolutely fine.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people say I don't want to be no fish boy lock. And
it looks so good. I don't know.
It does look cool. I can say that, but
I like the original set more than the mecha version of it. But yeah,
but
right.
The hunter armor for the monster is just so clean, so cool. It is awesome. However, you compare the Titan and the Warlock to the Gundam, and everyone that's two-thirds of the community that are going to go for Gundam, while you have a 1/3 of the community going for the hunter on the monster.
Right.
Roughly. So
100%
that's the way I see it, and I look at it.
No, 100% agree. It's exactly how I felt. It's like, okay, the Titan, you're right, fish boy legs. It's what was that movie? The Shape of Water.
Look, man, fishmen need love too.
Call him Abe from Hellboy.
Fish.
Look,
yeah,
man.
Abe.
So I remember someone like
needs to get it. Obviously,
he's got to shave his legs.
Like the reference for the Titan the other day, and it was like a one-eyed troll that like roams the beaches of like Europe or something, or like a Western, Western Europe. So there was sort of that's the concept for the Titan there. And then obviously the Warlock is Godzilla
or no, that's the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Creature from the Black Lagoon
is a warlock, and then Godzilla is the hunter. The Cyclops is actually, or at least last year's Cyclops was based off of Ray Harryhausen. We talked about this, I think, extensively when that came around. But it's based off of Ray Harryhausen, which he was a stop motion animator, and I believe that was from Jason and the Argonauts. If I'm correct, yeah. So
I see.
There's awesome references here, but like, let's be real. It's if anybody votes for Team Monsters, it's for the Godzilla hunter. That's clearly the winner there, and I'm right there with you, Bona. When it's like the Titan and the Warlock gear for Team Mechs, I think looks so much better than the Team Monsters one. But
if they gave you the Titan Mechs and the Warlock Mechs and then the Monster Hunter, I think that would keep the community happy.
100%,
right?
And the Cyclops is close, but it's from the Seventh Voyage. It's the
Seventh Voyage. Okay.
Yeah, because that's the one that has the Cyclops with like the furry legs in the bottom.
Sorry, I was thinking of the Cyclops without the furry legs. That had me all messed up.
That's all right. We've got our monster history on point here in the Planet Destiny podcast.
Yeah.
But overall, this contest,
the important things.
Get your monster history correct. No fake monster news here. But the contest itself is going to be handled the same way it was last year. I think from April 7th to the 13th, Bungie's going to be opening polls. They're going to be sending out emails, so make sure you got your email linked to your Bungie.net account, and you'll be able to vote for which team you want to see win. And then, of course, the winning team will become a set of Eververse armor in Festival of the Lost 2022. Real excited about it. I love Gundam, but I love Godzilla, and gosh, that Godzilla look is just so clean. It's so clean. I do wish that we could like get level with this, Bungie. Give us the Hunter Monster outfit, and I'll take the mech for Warlock and Titan.
So they're missing out on a prime opportunity here to have mechs versus monsters in game,
right?
Like have like a certain like look. I don't know, man. I don't know how you'd do this, but what I would like to see is like a game mode attributed to it, because you got a Kaiju Warfest going on here.
It's right there.
You're right.
Make them both, Bungie.
Is there any way we can rig it that 50% goes mech or 50% goes hunter? Do you think they'll give us both, or is that?
Oh, I think that they'll look into us and possibly sue us
and ban us.
If we've learned anything in the past couple weeks, it's that Bungie is highly litigious when it comes to you messing with their systems.
Yep.
Well done.
Well done. Good job, Bungie. That'll be a topic for another day. But good work, Bungie.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm excited about it. Looking forward to seeing who wins. It's I like when Bungie does this.
It's
type
gonna
of
be
stuff.
Mechs. Let's
gonna
gonna
be
pretend
Mechs.
here, TBL.
Like,
it's gonna be Mechs.
I want it.
We just
I want it to be
trade the
monsters
Hunter
as
mech?
much as the next guy. I wanted it to be monsters last year. This year it's mechs. There's hands down.
Yeah,
You look like a
there's-
toy. You look like a toy. You're gonna be a mech.
I feel that.
I do have to like say, like, if anyone's ever gonna sort of, you know, yeah, it looks cool as like a full, but like, how many times do we get this armor and then we end up having just that armor set? Like, look at like each thing individually. Look at the helmet, look at the arms, look at the mark, the class item. How is that going to go incorporated into your everyday sort of armor choices? Like, you're not going to have this full set all the time. You're going to choose like one piece to go onto your
I think
armor.
yeah, I
So-
think
so-
I think really the only thing you can possibly combine these with is the phenotype plasticity set from a while ago. The Vex set.
That was a mech set.
Yeah.
That
So
was good stuff.
You've got the Titan, like things that stand out as like the Titan arms for the mech. You know, with the big iPad on his shoulder. Like, I'll be
Yeah.
you know, wearing that with other armor pieces.
Mecha Zavala.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
Nerf Zavala. And then, you know, I can see every piece of the monster, the hunter monster sort of going everywhere. And then,
Yeah.
you know, I'd love
You
the
love glowy
warlock.
bits.
Yeah, exactly. So
I feel like Bungie's
you're ever going to
trying
base
to
your decision. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Bungie's trying to tip the scales here because like that hunter look is so cool. That the eyes are lit up on the cloak. You've got the glowy bits on the claws. You've got the claws on the feet. There's a lot you could do with that. There's a whole lot you could do with that. Either way,
It's gonna be a
We'll
shame that
see.
it's gonna be mechs, but so it goes.
Yeah. It's gonna be Mechs, probably, most definitely, 100%.
If we sing that like in sync, will we get DMCA strike?
Let's
We
not
m-
find out.
We might, but then Bungie might sue whoever struck us. So it's a roll of the dice how that's going to turn out, man. All right, but moving on, the only other real bits of news we had to talk about are the Glory playlist is going to be going away, and the Unbroken title is going to be getting retired pretty soon. I think we just got next season. If you want to actually earn the Unbroken title, you have to go and play that Glory playlist and get yourself up to Legend to Timer 3. But after season 16, it's going to be going away. Does anybody here have any thoughts about that?
I was not aware it was going away.
Yeah. This past week swap. I you know what? I'm fine with them getting rid of titles. Completely fine with it because there's like there's like a demarcation point. Like if there's FOMO and if it be in titles, completely fine with it. Like it does denote kind of like a generation of player in that way, right?
Yeah.
Like we have the Shadow title. You can't get it anymore.
Can't get it anymore.
Fine with it. The people who worked toward it got it. The people who didn't really care for it don't. So
I can agree with that. Yeah, I can agree with that. As a matter of fact, I had a conversation with my buddy. He's here in chat, Black Fox, about this earlier in the week when we were looking through some of the older retired titles. And I think it's perfectly fine to have an expiration date on at least an expiration earn date on some of these titles. You can display them forever, but if you wanted to actually earn them, you had to play during the time when they were active. I think that's as far as FOMO goes, that shouldn't hurt too much. You know, seeing Almighty and not realizing you can't go and get that anymore.
Yeah.
I think it's perfectly fine for that to go away. It's a good little prestige thing. You know, they go and they see Shadow. Oh, Dan, what does that mean? Had to be there.
oh, buddy, let me tell you. And then I didn't get it, so that's that's fine.
Let me tell you about this thing I don't have. This is where I'd put my Shadow title. One.
Well, one that I have, I mean, that like I stand by. was the oh, come on. Where is it? It is the Black Armory one.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
Blacksmith.
Yeah. The blacksmith title. Like,
you ran the hell out of that raid.
Yeah, I did. And I was like, you know what? We're getting this thing. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to get. Nobody else has it. I've got it. If I want to flash that, I can. But, you know, some of these kids, they don't know respect.
They don't know.
They don't know.
They don't know about that blacksmith.
Ain't got no respect.
They've got no respect. Rodney Dangerfield over here. How old am I? Dear God. All right.
Old enough. So yeah, I'm not bummed about Unbroken going away. I think it's nice of Bungie to give people an extra season if they want to try and go and suffer through the glory playlist, which I'm fairly certain 97% of the population completely forgot was in the game.
Yeah.
They do say that they're going to be, looking at revamping the glory playlist, and I'm very interested in hearing what exactly that's supposed to mean moving forward. I wonder what they could do with that playlist to kind of make it a more worthwhile endeavor for people to engage in, because it's not like Trials isn't blooming right now. It's not like Iron Banner isn't on the verge of getting a complete revamp. And well, even already kind of has with some of the new weapons and the origin traits we've got on them. But of course, Saladin is going to be getting his vendor screen revamped to be similar to the way the other ritual vendors are with Osiris or Trials of Osiris and the Vanguard stuff and all of that. I wonder what exactly the purpose for a glory playlist looks like in the future. Does anybody have any idea for what they think that might be?
Well, they've said that they're going to be sort of not only revamping the glory playlist, but bringing out a replacement title for Unbroken.
Yeah.
So, that will consist of not only the glory playlist, but other things that are more higher tier in Crucible, so that people have to work towards as well. So, and then people go on to guild that every season the same way they do with Conqueror, same way they do with Flawless and Dredgen. So
that's it.
Yeah, that's what do they sort of change up the way the rounds function or anything like that?
Mm-hmm.
But they definitely need to do something like Glory. The Glory playlist had its glory days back pre Shadowkeep, I believe, with the pinnacle weapons, and that was sort of the biggest reason. And I had sort of friends that would. The only time I ever would use the word carry is like when it's PvP, and I actually get carried. So I would get carried in those players to get the pinnacle weapons, being Recluse, being Mountaintop, being Luna's Howl, and Not Forgotten. And then I would then carry them in the other things like Reckoning at the time, and no one ever wanted to do that. So you think back to how Unbroken first felt. All they've said that they sort of want to take away is the multi-season requirement. So we'll have to see what they do, if they change anything sort of gameplay wise, or it's just more functionality and make it a little bit more fun that people want to grind it every season for the triumphs or for the gilding.
No, I think that's fair enough, and incentive has always kind of been the name of the game when it comes to the glory playlist, and you're absolutely right. Back in the day, it's because glory was tied to those pinnacle weapons that we were going after. If you wanted that Not Forgotten, you had to go into glory and fight for it. And it's going to be interesting. I think tying it to a gilded title and maybe putting some limited challenges in there, I think is probably the way to go with glory moving forward. I think you're 100% on point with that. Do you think they keep the same game mode, or do they change that up for glory as well?
No stranger to changing up the game mode, are they? Like they've changed it up expansion after expansion. I think it was just this past expansion they didn't sort of make any sort of tweaks to the comp matches. So it's definitely overdue. And if you ask anyone in the PvP community, a lot of the sort of support and content is overdue. So definitely like to see something come out for them.
I almost wonder if they end up wrapping this in with all the PvE or PvP changes that they say they're going to end up making. If they're like, guys, all right, we're gonna revamp it, and it'll be like, we'll give you more maps, I promise. We'll give you more game modes, I promise.
Soon,
like,
TM.
Yeah, I almost wonder if like it fits better to like do a full revamp, possibly rebrand it into something else than to like take it away and then give it back the next season. If the rest of PvP hasn't gotten the kind of love that they're promising.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But yeah, there's that. I'm looking through here to see if there's anything else major going.
It was just the announcement about Grandmasters. We've got Palindrome and Plug One coming back as some of the rewards tied to that, and I think the Gambit Labs are going to be going live this week as well. Right?
Oh yeah, that's interesting. Does that make anybody want to play Gambit?
No.
Okay. All right.
It depends. It depends on what change they're gonna do. I mean, I used to love Gambit. I think I had about 300 hours in traditional Gambit. Like that Gambit was my jam. But all of the changes that they've done to it has just gravitated me further and further and further away from the playlist. So anything that they can do to like possibly get my attention back on there, I'm more than welcome to it, because just as it stands, this hybrid of traditional and prime just is not for me.
Yeah. So the change that they're proposing says next Tuesday, Gambit Labs will make its first appearance in Destiny 2. Now that we've gotten a slew of bug fixes and some minor tuning in place through the last few hot fixes, it's time to hit the labs. Both Gambit matchmaking modes, main and freelance, will be updated to feature Gambit Labs Invasion Swap. This iteration of Gambit will change up who gets invasions during the moats phase of the activity. When a given team reaches 25 and 75 banked moats, the opposing team will be given one invasion. So strategies might change in a few ways for both invaders and bankers. Go for the largest blockers to start. Stagger large and small blockers to keep your opponents on their toes. Invade immediately. Yeah, like it's going to change it up a little bit. I don't know if it's interesting enough for me to like.
Yeah, 100%.
Ditto.
I literally only go in there for pinnacles. Like if I'm not 50, if I'm not at max pinnacle, and then after that I leave it alone.
Yep.
So maybe it's one of those things where you hop in and you're like, you know what? I found that spark of love for this again. Or you hop in and be like, well, I'm never doing that again. And
yeah.
When do you guys think was the best time in Gambit to sort of jump in? When do you think they had it at the best spot?
Preseason of the Drifter.
So
I don't know, man. I think that is such a it's such a subjective answer for so many different people, because there's a lot of people I know were really into Prime. I wasn't into Prime at all. I have Reckoner, and it was just the worst experience.
That was a bad
of Gambit. I remember it was very frustrating. Because I largely did that solo. So running in there full and kitted out for Invader. Having the half sentry, half collector, you take the portal every single goddamn time.
Every time. Like, I got the Invader armor on, bro.
Yeah, exactly. That just frustrated the hell out of me. For me, like the time that I had the most fun with Gambit was traditional, like OG Gambit, like on the very first few iterations of it. Like, yeah, I know Sleeper and Queens were like super busted, but
yeah,
I that's the game mode that I miss. I just the 2 rounds and being able to slay out, just super fun.
Yeah, I feel that. 100% feel that.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't mind the current iteration of Gambit so much. It goes by quick enough, but it's definitely not the game mode that I hop on Destiny looking to play. I'm just like you, Dan. I go in there. If I need pinnacles, I get those pinnacles done, and then I leave. And then I don't go play Gambit. I don't use that to pass the time the way I would strikes or lost sectors or crucible or anything like that.
I don't know what it is about it either, but like, you know, when I hop into like, you know, the Vanguard Ops playlist, or if I hop into PvP, I guess the best way to compare it is like there's a certain flavor to it, and like there are flavor that even when I'm getting my shit kicked in, I feel it is appetizing, right?
Yeah,
it's like there's a reason why I keep going back to those playlists over Gambit, and I think it's just because like Gambit doesn't really have a flavor right now. Like it's just existing. And yeah, like DMG Jebby brings up something that's interesting. So DMG posted his time wasted in Destiny. For those of you at home who don't know, there's a website called timewastedindestiny.com. You can go and search up your account. It'll tell you how many hours you have in activity versus the amount of time that you've wasted either by deleting a character or by sitting in space. My Gambit time in that is like 3% of my overall time, and that feels high.
Yeah.
So I honestly, had they like Season of the Drifter did a lot of things, and I think ramming Gambit down everybody's throat for 3 months probably is why a lot of people kind of steer clear of that playlist right now.
It was rough.
Yeah. That's what makes me hesitant to be like, oh yeah, there should be a PvP season. Because dear God, man, like I want them to improve PvP. I want it to be really great for the people who enjoy it. I don't want to be forced to do an activity over and over again that
thankfully,
I think I'm not invested in.
I think Bungie's beyond those days. I think they probably understand that now. They're not going to do another Season of the Drifter style of content where everything is so uniquely focused around that activity.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. We'll just have to see.
But in other news, we've got Trials Freelance coming back on Friday. So that's the thing. Those out there who want to solo queue in Trials and be guaranteed to only be facing other people making the decision to solo queue in Trials, that'll be going live this coming Friday. Always a good time.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of trials. Or again, you could just go do the Twitch bounties. Yeah. Get 2 free Trials level ups every single week. Get plenty of gear that way.
I know a lot of people were talking about Stasis and Void 3.0 this past week in Trials. Like, has anybody here hopped in and played any?
Yeah, it's a lot of Stasis.
Okay.
There's a lot. There's a lot of Axion bolts and a lot of Duskfield grenades. So it's
the one way to like combat invis hunters though. I've heard from previous weeks is, you know, invis hunters constantly going, so you need to lock that down to stop them coming through.
That works. But it's really no more so than you're experiencing in regular Crucible. So I didn't find it to be that different. Well, all right. Is that it for the news?
I believe so. We had several questions pop up, so I'm gonna ask a few here. First one, I think this is kind of important. One that I think a lot of people who are newer can kind of like check out or like learn from the greats here. So New Bold One asks, relatively new player here. Never done a raid because the tight mechanics seem complex and very overwhelming to me. What currently available raid or dungeon would you recommend as a good place to start for a total raid newbie? Why don't we...
Any of the dungeons.
Oh, yeah. Any of the dungeons are great. Bona, in your experience, what would... If you're taking somebody who's brand new in, what comes to mind immediately?
OG Vogue. I think it gives sort of even to sort of new people that sort of OG sort of originality sort of vibes for people. It opens people up to, jumping puzzle and, just trying to hit bosses as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So I think in Last Wish and in Val, there's a lot of sort of call outs. There's a lot of communication that's going on that can seem quite overwhelming to new players. And Vogue is one where you can pair up very, very easily with in 3 groups of 3 pretty much throughout the entire group. So use your buddy system. I think it's great for that, and that's definitely what I, if someone says they never done one before, I'm like, cool, let's go jump into a Vogue. Let's go smash through. So and also saying that, I'm also a firm believer of making people feel invincible and taking people into the deep end and jumping into something like Val like straight away as well. So it all depends on the person and all depends on what they're comfortable with, but you need to give people the confidence to feel like they can smash it out and prove them that they're wrong, that they can't do it. So
I think there's something that to be said, I think, for power creep too. Because earlier today somebody had asked to do a Shattered Throne, and I haven't run a Shattered Throne in ages. And took somebody in, they were like, "Oh, I got to pull up the map for the first room, like for all the things." I was like, "Buddy, I know where all of them are. I slogged through this guy by myself when I did my solo."
Where we're going, we don't need maps.
the pure, like, we melted, we annihilated the ogre boss. There was nothing left of him. Somebody asked if that was like a mid strike boss. Like when we were at it, it was insane. Just the amount of damage that you were able to put out, as well as like Dulin Karu really does not hold up.
He gets
damage.
clapped.
Yeah. So like, I would, if I were introducing somebody to a dungeon, I'd be like, let's go do the granddaddy of dungeons. It's kind of dumb. You're going to feel like super overpowered, but there are mechanics in there, and especially if you do like the optional bosses for Wish
right.
in there. That's like kind of a cool thing too.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think starting them with Shattered Throne, if you're going to run dungeons, is it's easy enough that they can get in, they can understand the mechanics. It's kind of low pressure now because of how powerful we are.
Oh yeah.
I remember when that darn ogre encounter was the hardest fight in the game to get through, especially to solo. And now it's I won't say a walk in the park, but a pleasant jog through the park is what it feels like now. And as for raids, I think Bona's right on top of it. I think Vogue is like the perfect blueprint for a Bungie raid. It's got easy to understand mechanics that are repeated all throughout the raid. Everything that you learn from the very beginning is what you use all the way through it. And it works really well with Bungie's old school raid buddy system. Like it's you and a buddy sticking to a specific side, doing a specific objective until damage phase. I think Vogue is always a great one to start people with.
How would we feel about like DSC as a starter raid?
A little more complicated than Vogue.
Yeah, but like
but not much more complicated.
It really highlights the roles that you'll be taking.
Yeah.
The entire time.
I think that one teaches you communication better than Vogue would. Because communication's a much bigger part of DSC. Whereas for the most part, you're mostly just communicating really just during the Athean final fight when you're trying to figure out the Oracle positions and whatnot.
So maybe start with a nice Vogue run and then afterward be like, now that you've been through one, now that we've shaken off the rust, why don't we you want to go to space?
Take them to outer space. Yeah, I dig that.
Yeah, I'd definitely say DSC. So there's the next one over like Garden or Last Wish. So how many raids we have? We have 5
There's
raids.
5 currently.
5.
Wow.
Yeah. Last Wish feeling, well, I don't know. After the past couple weeks, Last Wish kind of feels like maybe a half-hour television show. But like Vow has been, I've spent a lot of time in Vow, as I'm sure you have as well, Bona, and everybody else here on panel.
Nope.
Okay. Mr. 4-time.
He got his exotic and he got out. He's not
Mr.
going back.
4-time over here.
He's not
good.
going back.
I still really would need to run it more because I want that glaive in my life so bad.
Well, ain't gonna be me next week.
Not here.
Not me. Let's see here. Volfir asks, what would y'all think about replacing Gambit with something more like Division's Dark Zone?
That's an interesting question. It's actually been a topic of conversation in Destiny since the first Division came out, like back in 2014, 2015. I don't know how exactly that would work because I don't know how Bungie would build a survival sort of element into the world of Destiny, like it is as just a standard part of the Division. It's interesting. I don't know how they do that. Every time I try to think about it, it just breaks down to being, oh well, that's just Crucible. It would just be the Crucible.
I guess it could be something as simple as you join up and it's like a patrol area, and you're having a lot of time to go and grab as many materials as possible, and if you don't extract those materials out, then you don't get to keep those. And
so you're stealing them from other people.
Put weapon crafting materials in that world.
Exactly.
Oh,
so
no.
you either work together and coordinate with other teams to extract your gear after their gear after another team's gear to get out, or you go after other teams in a fire team and steal their resources and extract it out. If you don't extract it out, then you can make something as simple as the gear is an emote, and when you kill someone, it drops like the engrams or the motes or whatever. And
you could add an encumbered mechanic.
Yeah, and
carrying too many.
Run around like a large sort of big team battle sort of area, and you activate different things. And as simple as going and standing in a flag capture, and holiday ship comes over and extracts stuff out, add like public events into it, that sort of thing. And so it's still PvP, but on the most grand scale that they do not have the resources to run. So
I think we're talking about a new game at that point.
Yeah, because that sounds fantastic.
It would be the size of a new game. So
I don't know how they'd fit that into D2 as it currently is.
Yeah,
interesting idea though. Like, oh, I'm sorry. Did you farm up all those upgrade mats? Swoop! you roll up in a squad of 6 and just rob some other guardian.
I just ended up doing what I did in the original D1 and just go in and make friends with people in proximity chat, just police the dark zone.
So,
that's how I do.
That's how I did it too. Just dark zone. Oh, that was fun. The dark zone in Division 1 was such a fun experience. It is in D2 as well. But man, that was just a fun new thing. A lot of great stories of chasing down that one guy who stabbed
that one guy, and there's like 16 people running after this one that's been like marked. It's one of the best experiences in gaming I've ever had.
He stole my exotic.
Get him, boys.
I think Borderlands 3 kind of tried to add like something along the same lines as like the Darkness Zone where you could extract the loot out. It was like fine.
Yeah.
It was fine.
Yeah.
I don't know how it would work in Destiny. Black Vox asks thoughts on no special heavy ammo or heavy weapons having champ mods outside of Ariana's Arbalist. I'm gonna add what's the other one? What's the sword? The
Lament
into that category as well.
So there'd be no anti-champion mods other than it becoming intrinsic on a exotic weapon.
Yeah. I think it's about time that Bungie expanded on the mods for anti-champion at this point. I've said for a long time, I kind of wish they would just make it so that you had, rather than specific weapons kind of curating the loadout that you bring into some of the in-game content, like saying, okay, you either have to have an unstoppable hand cannon or an unstoppable pulse rifle, give us unstoppable kinetic, unstoppable energy, anti-barrier kinetic, anti-barrier energy. Even if you want to leave the mods as they are, like unstoppable or pulse and all that kind of stuff in the first tree, and then have like unstoppable kinetic and whatnot in the very last tree, so it's the last things that you can unlock. I would love it if we finally moved to a system like that, so that you could kind of just pull the weapons you want to play with into some of those loadout locked bits of content. I'd also love to see some of these mods finally get added to heavy weapons. Like, LMGs feel so sad.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, we've never had an
right
anti-champion
now.
LMG. Yeah.
And like, give it anti-barrier or overload or something, Bungie, please.
Like we've had overload sword, we've had
Yeah.
unstoppable grenade launcher, and that obviously goes to sort of special grenade launchers as well. But unless it was, we did have unstoppable shotgun, and by extension
Yes.
that meant Acreus and
Mhm.
tractor cannon. But
Do
I
you
don't think, yeah. I
Do you
those are
think
the only
they're
ones we
afraid
had.
of Xenophage and now Grand Overture?
Oh, don't say that.
Oh man.
Yes.
Ooh.
Very yes.
Because that's what I'm hearing. Is like they don't like. It already seemed like they were very hesitant to add LMGs into the game anyway, and then they give us like Xenophage, which was at one point like DPS god, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then like Grand Overture is pretty fucking dope. Like I
Especially
know.
the catalyst.
Oh yeah. I'd be very
Little nutty.
surprised. I'd be very surprised to see that anytime soon.
While we're on the topic of champion mods, obviously we've got, Overload Grenade, Void Grenade this season, and we have like Inferno Whip back for Solar Melee.
Right.
We have Arc 3.0 next season, so a lot of it's going to be focused around Arc. Do you think possibly using your class item might do a overload or unstop? So can you imagine being a hunter dodging next to a champion and stunning them?
That'd be cool.
Putting your like barricade down and then walking through it stuns them.
That would be. I actually kind of like that. Put your tying that kind of stuff to barricades or wells or whatnot. I think that'd be really cool.
Puts you right
By
in
extension,
your face.
yeah, an arc buddy by extension.
Just
Do the same thing.
Shooting overload rounds everywhere. Yeah, that'd be cool. I would like that. Yeah, and I don't see why that wouldn't work, since they've already tied other status effects to some of those things as well. You know, they've tied a blinding effect to your dodge. They've tied a blinding and a suppression effect to walking through a barricade. I don't see why they couldn't do that, and I think that sounds fantastic.
Yeah. Black Fox, who brought up the question, says, I feel like they're holding on to old prestige systems where you used to have to use a specific loadout. So if anyone here remembers running Spire with auto, SMG, and grenade launcher.
Ooh. Not auto SMG, auto
yeah.
sidearm. Yeah, I was not a fan of that system, as anybody who's listened to this show over the years will tell you. I was never a fan of Bungie basically curating your loadout for the week for the sake of artificial difficulty. That never really felt good to me. And that's probably why, I'm still kind of trying to get them to push away from the specific anti-champion mod system we're at right now. But at least we're not doing the prestige thing. Yeah. Yeah, go run Callus with a sidearm. Good luck.
Final question of the evening comes from Trini.
Hey.
Favorite public event in the Throne World and least favorite public event?
Isn't there only one? Oh no, there's the witch one is there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have the ether extraction that we've seen in the Dreaming City and Tangled Shore.
Right.
And you have the barge moving across the ground and having to charge up the orbs to make it heroic.
There's
the barge.
Yeah, and there's the ritual one too in the that one big area where you have to stand on the plates, shoot the crystals, kill the witches, and then kill the
Oh
knight.
yeah.
I forgot about that. It's only in that one spot.
Yeah.
I think the barge is great. It's probably my favorite one. Because it takes us away and like takes us around the area. So going forward, I'd definitely like to see sort of more activities where we travel.
It's Overwatch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's Overwatch. I agree. I think the barge one is probably my favorite of the bunch because it's something new. It's not just stand at this point and defend this thing. You're actually traveling along with this thing, and they throw in the little bits like the Scorn popping up and putting up the shield, you having to go and destroy the things inside of it, grab the balls, throw the balls at the weapon. I think it's I'd say that's probably my favorite. Least favorite, the other Scorn one, where you have to stop the Dark Ether from hitting that central point. That one can always be a little finicky. It's probably one of my least favorite public events.
Yeah. I don't know how to make the barge heroic. Oh, there's little balls. There's little balls that drop out. And you
There's
toss
little
it.
resonance balls, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chuck them
You
at
toss
the
it
spear.
directly into the barge. And it'll...
All right, so Trini, you're riding the triangle. That's what this is all about. You're riding the Dorito weapon.
You're hanging tight.
As you're riding through, you're going to see some major enemies pop up. You kill them, they're going to drop these little golden orbs. You go, you pick it up, you throw it at the big circular part of the Dorito bomb. And I think it takes like what, 5 or 6
it's
of
like
them?
5. I want to say 5.
Yeah. Once you've landed that many of them on there, it'll turn the event heroic. It'll spawn 3 extra bosses at the end for you.
There you go.
There you go.
You
Didn't
even
take
got
a
a
10-minute
game
video.
guide at the end of this podcast. Look at that.
30 seconds. Easy. I like it. I think I agree with you guys. I like that it kind of gives you a tour of the map throughout the entire public event. I think definitely one of the more creative public events we've got in the game. A lot of fun.
I think it's just funny that it's an Overwatch mechanic that,
yeah.
that they brought in. Maybe we should see something like that in PvP. Maybe that'd be interesting.
That would be a fun game mode where it'd be kind of almost like Rift, but with one team defending the weapon, the other team trying to assault it. I think that'd be great.
I reckon we're talking more Halo Invasion back in Halo Reach here.
Yeah. That's what that I didn't even think about the possibilities of that being added to a PvP mode. Bungie, do that with the Glory playlist. Give us that objective game mode in the Glory playlist. One team attacks, one team defends. Then nobody ever has to play Overwatch again. No, good idea. I think that's a good idea.
Yep. Those are all the questions fit to print, though.
Well, right on. All the questions fit to print. That means, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of episode 303 of the Planet Destiny podcast. Thank you all so much for tuning in as we got to wax poetic about all the things going on in the Destiny universe. Before we get on out of here for the night, of course, we are going to let you know where you can find us all across the internet. Starting off with our guest, BonaFideHiro. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. It was a pleasure having you aboard.
Thanks, man. It was absolutely great and great way to sort of start off my week. It's great. Thank you for having me on.
No, absolutely, and it was great to hear your perspective when it comes to all of these the topics of loadouts, builds in the game, grandmasters, the in game. You have a lot of experience with that. It was wonderful to get all of that from you here, and I'm looking forward to seeing how you handle Sherpaing the grandmasters in the coming weeks. Hopefully,
me too. Me too. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but we'll figure it out.
I hope you only get new players who mysteriously have all the mods.
That'd be great.
Make it easy. Fingers crossed. Well, before we get on out of here, we do want to give you the opportunity to let everyone know where they can find you across the internet. So if you would, stage is yours.
Yeah, so pretty consistent. So BonaFideHiro. I don't know why I say that so slowly. Yeah, I'm on Twitch every sort of weekday, as many weekdays as I can possibly out of the month. And you'll find me sort of across all the socials in the same sort of name. And yeah, it's just look for the goofy bearded guy on those, and you'll find me. So thanks for that.
Right on, right on. Make sure you go and check them out and jump in for the Grandmaster Nightfall carries. As for us, Mr. Nim Plays, where you at, buddy? And how's that pizza?
It was fantastic. Thank you for asking. And you can find me over on twitter.com/NimPlays and pretty much NimPlays everywhere.
Right on, right on. Good to hear from you. I'm glad to see you're still taking screenshots in every game you're playing. Especially
yeah, man. Oh, man, I'm waiting for that mod to come out of that Patreon paywall over onto Nexus.
Yeah.
Oh,
fiending for it. This man is sweating.
Absolutely just foaming at the mouth, waiting for that mod to make its way to Nexus.
It's a pretty game, man. It's a pretty game.
Beautiful.
Right on, brother.
I may or may not have been playing it the entire time of the podcast, but that's neither here nor there.
No one blames you for that.
Yeah, we'll just have Moon take it out of your paycheck. It's fine.
What about you, Dan?
Oh, hi. My name's Danfinity, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram and the TikTok at Danfinity, where the I's are L's. You can also find me on Twitch 3 days a week, but not next week. Next week, I'm taking a mental health break, as is healthy. Also, remember to like and subscribe on the podcast, on your podcast platform of choice. Be sure to rate us 5 stars and give a review. That helps push us up in the views overall. It's pretty nice. It would be pretty great if you did.
If you do wind up leaving a review, leave a review about your favorite pizza and your favorite pizza toppings. I want iTunes. I want Apple to be completely confused as to what's going on in that review section.
Oh, please. I would love to hear about your favorite pizza. I would love to see 5-star reviews of your least favorite pizza too.
Ooh.
Like if you had a weird pizza experience and it has like a good story behind it, would love to see that.
Give me one of them pickled cardboard pizzas. Oof.
I have a bad donut story, but we'll save that for next time.
Well, all right. And of course, my name is The Black Link. You can find me pretty much everywhere on the internet, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all at The Black Link. As for live streams, it's going to be the same situation as the last couple of weeks. I'm actually going to be going into work real early, starting on Monday, and then going to be having that schedule basically until Saturday. So probably not going to have much time for live streaming, but I am on vacation. Maybe not next week, but the week after, I think. So I'll probably be streaming every day of the week. My live streams usually go live at 11 a.m. Eastern time until about 1, maybe 2 in the afternoon. So make sure you tune in there. And of course, all the Destiny news videos will be going up on the Planet Destiny YouTube channel at youtube.com/Planet Destiny. Make sure you're tuning in there. But all right, everybody, that's it for episode 303 of the Planet Destiny podcast, your guide to This Week in Destiny. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll see you all next time. Bye.